Hi, my name is Soniah Kamal. I'm an author, most recently of the novel Unmarriageable. Unmarriageable is a post-colonial retelling of Jane Austen's classic novel Pride and Prejudice. I've been wanting to write back to the British Empire, if you will, talk back, write back, have a conversation, a dialogue about colonization and post-colonization. And the best way I thought of doing that was taking a British classic, in this instance Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, which is a particular favorite of mine, and retransplanting it into Pakistan. So the novel follows the plot completely, all the characters are there, but it's in a Pakistani setting. One of the professors in America called it Babington Macaulay's nightmare, which is, I think, the perfect way to explain it, because Babington Macaulay was the British colonizer who decided to introduce English as the official language throughout the British Empire. And for him to see a British classic taken and set in a post-colonial country, in my novel Pakistan, would have certainly been his biggest nightmare. So mission accomplished in that respect. I've always seen Jane Austen as a social satirist, and in that vein, Unmarriageable is a social satire set in Pakistan, but it touches and sometimes often delves deep into issues of marriage, feminism and femininity, and the cross-section between the two. There are 5 sisters in the novel, and their mother is desperate to get them married off. She wants them to get married as fast as possible, but the daughters don't necessarily want to do what their mother says. All the sisters have different traits. One of the sisters is very outspoken. One of the sisters is a little less outspoken, very much mirroring the sisters in Pride and Prejudice, but with a Pakistani twist. I talk about fat phobia in the novel, body issues, how to navigate between our distinct culture, what it means to get married in the East versus in the West. Unmarriageable touches on all of these topics in a completely Pakistani vein. All novels, at least the ones I write, and all my writings are meant to be entertaining, but also most things carry a message. I would think the message of Unmarriageable is to be true to yourself, no matter what circumstances you find yourself in. Of course, Pakistani culture is very community-based, so sometimes it's difficult to be true to yourself, but the novel is definitely about how we once again figure out what we want, what we don't want, and how to balance all these things together. I think reading Unmarriageable is something every Pakistani man, woman, girl, boy will really, any gender at all, will really enjoy, because it's completely set in the society. It cuts across all class cultures, all the classes in Pakistan. There's a bit of everything in it for everyone. It's truck art come to life, if you want to call it that way. I've grown up in both the West and the East, and to talk about generalities and then come to specifics. In particular, I've grown up in Pakistan, I've grown up in Saudi Arabia, in England, and I live in the US, and I've seen different cultures come together, what it means to be culturally astute, what nuances there are in different cultures, and how we need to navigate and balance who we are versus how we're expected to live in different places. There's always, like the river Indus, a certain flow between cultures and what we take from it, and I think Unmarriageable is very much a conversation about the flow, and the flow between East and Western cultures. What does it even mean to be unmarriageable? What does it mean to be unmarriageable in our culture, in Pakistani culture? And what does it mean to be unmarriageable in an American context, in a Nigerian context, in a Filipino context? These are all very different and very specific to cultures. However, I think when it comes to the word unmarriageable, which is why I chose it as the title, every girl in Pakistan, and some men also, have been called unmarriageable at some point. Why they've been called unmarriageable, what it means to be unmarriageable in our country, in our culture, in our hearts, as far as our parents are concerned, our siblings are concerned, we ourselves might be concerned, that's exactly what this novel is about. Are you unmarriageable? Why are you unmarriageable? Should you be unmarriageable? And what does that even mean to you? So much of my life has been about not being allowed to make my own decisions, and yet having to find a life that is nevertheless fulfilling and satisfying and peaceful and content. And it's not the easiest in our culture, where especially for women, we're not allowed to often do what we want to do. We often have to follow the dictates of society. And I think in Unmarriageable, that's really what I wanted to show, which is how girls from all classes of life, all walks of life, those who want to be stay-at-home moms, those who want to go out and work, how they navigate their lives, their dreams, their desires in a culture where often we're not encouraged to follow our dreams and desires, and often we're discouraged from following them. So that's been my journey also. That's what my TEDx talk is about. I had to base my life not on a dream I wanted to do since age 12, which was be an actress, but on often the desires of other people, parents, family members. That's how I find myself being a writer. I did not want to be a writer. And so it was a struggle learning how to be happy in where life took me rather than where I took my life. I hope when you read Unmarriageable or when you read any of my essays, it helps people find their path in life, regardless of the cultures we find ourselves in. So I think my biggest message to anyone would be how to live your life in places where oftentimes we find ourselves chained because of so many issues and things which are out of our control.